All right, people. So I'm here with the 2024 election prediction. The election's 2 days away, so I have to make a little prediction video here. So just to get it out of the way, I'm not gonna wait till the end to announce it, but I think Trump is going to win. If you asked me 2 months ago, I thought Kamala was gonna win, but things are starting to turn a little bit in Trump's favor in the polls. So I do think Trump is going to win. I think it's going to be slight. I don't think he's going to win all of the 7 swing states. And I will go through my prediction. Again, I don't think anybody knows who's going to win. I think it's pretty 50-50 at this moment, but I got to give a slight edge to Trump. So I'll go through the states one by one here, the swing states at least. So we got Michigan. I'm going to start with Michigan because that's where I live. I did the early voting this year. I thought that was pretty cool. But I think he is going to lose Michigan. Michigan seems to be the most, democratic of the three Rust Belt states. So I think he's going to lose Michigan. I also think he is not going to win Virginia. He is not going to win New Mexico. So, we should not even talk about those states, in my opinion. Because if he does end up winning those states or even being close in those states, like the election will be a landslide. But I don't think he's going to win New Mexico or Virginia. I do think Virginia, he's going to cut the gap. Virginia does seem, compared to 2020 and 2016, Virginia does seem to be getting more Republican, but I think it's a waste of resources and time to even talk about those states at the moment. Maybe next election cycle. Wisconsin, I do think he's going to eke out a victory in Wisconsin. Again, it's going to be super close, but I do think he's going to eke out a victory in Wisconsin. The polls seem to be more tight there than they are in Michigan. I also think he'll eke out a victory in Pennsylvania. I think it'll be a little bit more than Wisconsin, but the polls are just, seem to be, especially in Pennsylvania, the polls seem to be neck and neck. I think he's in a really good position in Arizona and Georgia to win by more than just eke out a victory. I think he'll win by 3 to 4 points in Georgia and Arizona. I think North Carolina is going to be a little bit tighter. The polls seem to be a bit tighter there. So I see maybe about a 2-point victory for him in North Carolina. So that's kind of my prediction there. I don't know what that brings him to. I think it's like in the 290s if you go by the Electoral College numbers. But the fact of the matter is these, states are so close at a polling error of like 1 or 2 points. Somebody turns out more than the other candidate's electorate. It could really swing the election to where it looks like a landslide, but actually like a landslide in the Electoral College. But actually these states are only being decided by, tens of thousands of votes, which is very, very small. So any little factor could really swing this election either heavily to Trump's favor or heavily to Kamala's favor. A little polling error, even within the margin of error, a polling error within the margin of error can swing this election. If you have a polling error like you saw in 2022, which favored the Democrats, or the polling errors in 2016 or 2020, which favored the Republicans, it's going to swing the election. So anybody out there saying like, well, Trump's got this locked, or, it's Trump's in a good position, Kamala's in it. I mean, honestly, both the candidates are not in good positions. Like, they're not locks to win the election. It's really 50-50 right now. You had a Iowa poll come out last night that showed Trump down 3 points in Iowa. I think that's a bullshit poll. You also had Emerson College release a poll that showed Trump up about 10 points in Iowa. So something is fucked up there. Something is not right there. I mean, there's no way that Trump is going to... I shouldn't say no way. I'll say there's a very tiny chance that Trump loses Iowa by 3 points, or is losing Iowa by 3 points right now, but is tied in the Rust Belt states. Like, that doesn't really make any sense. I don't believe that poll. People are saying she's a really good pollster. This is a really accurate poll. I don't buy it. Something went wrong in that poll. It just seems too hard to be true. It could be a warning sign, though. Like, even if that poll is remotely close to what's going on, it could be a warning sign. But again, nobody knows. It's one poll. We have to wait and see. There was a wide range of polls that actually just came out Sunday morning. this morning that I was looking at that again kind of show the election neck and neck. It's basically tied in the polls, so nobody knows what's going to happen. We just got to wait and see on election night. I don't think there's, going to be this widespread fraud that Trump loves to talk about either. Like, if he loses, he loses. If Kamala wins, Kamala wins. If he wins, whatever happens is going to happen. So I don't think there's going to be this widespread fraud that Trump talks about. You could make the argument that there's events that get covered or don't get covered by the media that affect people's how people will vote. You can make that argument, or you could even make the argument, back in 2020 that the voting laws were changed prior to the election that possibly affected the turnout of the election, which affected, the election results. I mean, you can make those two arguments, but to make this argument that like the voting machines are changing the votes or some bullshit like that, I mean, there's really no evidence to that. And I'm not basing my predictions on like, oh, there's going to be 2% less vote in Michigan because the voting machines are going to change the Kamala votes to Trump votes. Like, that just doesn't happen, that I see at least. So I'm not basing my predictions on that. But whoever wins wins. Life will go on. When Trump won, life went on. When Biden won, life went on. I mean, we're still the greatest country in the world, people. So, life is going to go on. Let's not freak out. Let's not make a huge fucking deal about this. There are many other elections in the country and many other things in the country that affect our lives, more than just who is president. Like your local politicians, your state politicians are just as important. Congress is just as important as who is president. Because if there's a Republican Senate and a Democratic president, there's not going to be much done by the Democratic president if there's a Republican Senate. So let's not freak out. Let's not hate each other. Oh, my coworker voted for Kamala. Let me try to get her fired. Oh, my coworker voted for Trump. Let me try to get him fired or throw him under the bus or say he's a terrible person. We can still love each other, have cordial friendships and relationships with our friends, family members, and coworkers and members of the community who might differ from us politically. So let's remember that. There you go, people. There's my election prediction.